want to tell a little story about how one product that is in the news all the time and sort of has affected the world came to be, and maybe some of the lessons on the creation of Twitter and what we might think and learn from it to build new things. First of all, I was the first employee and sort of led the engineering team for the first couple of years of the company that created Twitter, which is actually called Odeo, and we were trying to do podcasting. We were trying to reinvent internet radio. And it turns out that we did a beautiful job of building a product that did not get product market fit, and we ended up getting sort of crushed by Apple. And we had this moment where we said, okay, well, we need to think of something new. We need to think of something else to do. And we said, well, we've been hacking on telephony, and smartphones might come out, and they seem like it's interesting, and maybe there's something interesting there we can do. And so we started playing with this thing called Asterisk, and playing with sending SMSs, and playing with the creation of sort of new ways of connecting people, and thinking about what the future of voicemail and mailing lists and collaboration and news readers, all these things might be. And we started hacking on things. And we said, okay, well, what let's do is let's spend some time analyzing everything that existed in the past, and have this idea that the medium that we're communicating in needs to find its new native. It needs to find what the new way of collaborating is that's native to that medium. And to do that, we're just going to adapt pre-existing sort of deeply rooted human patterns of communication. So people do the same things in society over and over again. The laws, cultures, and technology shape them in different directions. So we played with Unix systems, we played with early blogging systems, we played with BBS systems and chat systems and all these different ways of collaborating. And we said, well, what's common here? And one of the things that we realized looking back at blogging is that if you lower the barrier to both writing, creating, finding people, and reading, you create a kind of communication that wasn't possible before, or wasn't scalable before. Because if you look at something like Twitter, there are newspaper columns called Twitter in the 1920s, which were sort of community updates. And if you look at what community radios do, people do these call-ins, these shout-outs. And if you look at the Unix, the .plan files and the .finger, you can like touch people and find out what they're doing and what they're up to. And in particular, we looked at a system that some of us have been working on that had come out of a research project at MIT called TextMob, which was a sort of a group update text messaging type thing that you could use during protests. But it was very clunky to use. And so we divided up in all these different teams, and we did these week-long hackathons. We did one day of hackathon a week for about 6 weeks, and we came up with a whole bunch of prototypes. And we said, which ones of these are interesting? And from the ideas of TextMob and UPOC and a ton of other systems, we came up with this thing that we called sort of jokingly Friendstalker. It was never going to be called that. But you could do updates. And this sort of status update type system seemed to have something that was compelling. And what we were doing is we were taking the previous normal human interactions of running into someone in the street and telling them what's up, and giving that kind of social clues in communication, and we bridge it to digital space, and so that everybody can participate in that thing. And initially, everyone thought we were kind of crazy, and it didn't take off. But the people who used it a lot, and it became very addictive. The other sort of lesson of innovation that came out of the creation of Twitter is that you should look at the use. Look at the people who are creating things, the people who are doing the innovation, people who are collaborating, and engage actively with your community of users as a method of innovation. Because that is where Twitter learned about the @name and the hashtags and retweets and search. All those things that we think of that make Twitter today came out of adapting community use. And so the community of the people using your system is the best way to innovate. Thank you very much.